So welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success story series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders, their backgrounds, their successes and their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm really delighted to have with us Karen Cruz, who's the CEO at Flourished Minds. So Karen, firstly, thanks for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and Flourished Minds and tell us a little bit about the wonderful things that you do, that would be wonderful.
Brilliant, thank you. So, well, thanks for inviting me. I feel quite honoured, actually. So yes, I'm the founder and CEO of Flourished Minds, and we are a social enterprise. And we actually started in January 2020, and then lockdown happened 2 months later. So that was quite an interesting time. So we set up as a social enterprise, and we're a life coaching company, and we work specifically with children and young people, helping them with issues around their social and emotional well-being. And we do that in schools.
Yeah.
So we support head teachers really to work with those children that they might be finding a little bit challenging. And we do that on a one-to-one basis. So we go into schools, work with children on a one-to-one, and kind of just offer them that space of someone that's not mum, dad, teacher, to talk about whatever it is that might be worrying them. And what we do specifically is kind of unravel, unpick, discover what's going on behind that behaviour, because there's always a reason.
Yeah.
So we always say to schools, you know, children's behaviour is a way of communicating to you. If the behaviour is not great, it's a way of communicating to you that all is not well.
Yes.
That's all they're saying. All is not well. Our job is to understand what's not going well for them and to absolutely shine a light on their brilliance. So, best thing I've ever done, ever.
Well, absolute wonderful thing to be doing. And I guess, I mean, my perception is, you know, kids need this even more nowadays with, you know, with the impact of social media and the sort of ability to be cyberbullied, as you know, alongside physical bullying. Is that so? It must be, I would imagine, quite challenging but quite rewarding times for you right now.
Definitely. And like I said, when we started in January 2020, and 2 months later we had lockdown, I thought, I have done the worst thing possible, started a company 2 months before lockdown. But obviously it was unknown. But it turned out to be the best time for us, because lots of children struggled through the pandemic of not going to school, missing their friends, missing that routine of school, missing a meal. You know, for some children, it was the only hot meal they got during the day, and teachers were struggling. So in hindsight, it was actually the best thing we ever did. And interestingly, I started this company because, well, I started my own company before that, but based on my own experience of being completely written off at school, told I wasn't clever enough to do my GCSEs, left school with nothing, fell into housing, social housing, stayed in that company, well, in that organisation, that environment for 30 years, with one company for 25 years. And my chief exec of the last company and some of my other bosses really mentored me before mentoring was a thing. I'm talking, like I said, 30 years ago, and helped me to work my way through the organisation, apply for jobs, do all the stuff we hated, like public speaking, presentations, encouraged me to go back to college, went back to college. And when I got to becoming a senior manager within the organisation, my boss was at this level, Karen, you need to go to university. And I was like, boss, there's absolutely no way I can go to uni. It's just not a thing. Anyway, I did, and got my degree, got a bachelor's degree. And then I thought, you know, if I can do all this, certainly, surely I can do my GCSEs, because I still didn't have my GCSEs, because the degree was linked to housing. And so when I was 52, I decided to go back to college, sit my GCSEs, and absolutely smash my GCSEs, Chris. And I would still be in housing now, but my husband got really ill and I left. And then I just thought, what am I going to do? And I just decided I am going to use the skills and experience and qualifications that I've got. And what happened was Steve, my chief exec, introduced coaching to us in the workplace. As senior managers, we were going through masses of change, merging with different organisations, different cultures, all of that going on. It was really tough for us. So he brought coaches in to coach us, and then to help us coach our team through the change. And then the opportunity to train as a coach. So I trained as a coach 17 years ago, and I was like, this stuff's just like magic. thought nothing of it until I left, and then decided I was going to use all of that, all my experience of what happened at school, all through work, because I ended up becoming a senior manager for one of the biggest housing associations in Yorkshire at the time. I'm going to use that to help other children to just tap into and realise how amazing they are. And that underpins my business totally and utterly. It's like, yeah, meant to be.
I was listening to a few people speaking recently, and it was very much, and I believe this myself, you know, when you find your purpose, then everything fits into line, doesn't it? It's like,
absolutely,
that's what I'm here to do. So
yeah,
when you were growing up, is this what sort of thing you foresaw yourself doing, or did you have other plans?
well, I always wanted to teach. I always wanted to be a teacher, but school knocks that out of me. And they were like, oh, you know, when you had your careers meetings at school, I'm talking, I left school 40 odd years ago. So it was, be a teacher now. We think you need to go to college and do secretarial work. And I thought, fair enough. But I've always wanted to teach. And I made myself think I couldn't teach because I didn't have my GCSEs and I needed them to get into schools and teach. So, like I said, fell into housing by accident. But I'm still kind of in the education sector, and I'm still kind of teaching, but in a beautiful way, Chris, better than I planned, because we don't have the red tape, we don't have all the, you know, the bureaucracy of the educational system, none of that stuff going on, and yet we still manage to get the absolute best out of children. So if my teachers were still alive, I think I'd probably go and say, you weren't very nice, but thank you anyway.
Brilliant. That's wonderful. And as you say, you founded in 2018. What since then? Obviously, I know appreciate COVID's going to have a big part to play, but what are some of the biggest issues you've had to overcome between then and now?
Yeah, well, we founded in 2020.
Sorry.
I'd say the biggest issues, I think really starting a business and not having a clue what it means to manage a business. And so getting the right people around me, and getting people in who can do stuff I couldn't do. So, you know, an accountant, someone that really specialises in education. The beautiful thing about the company now is that my chief exec, Steve, that I talked about, who really mentored me the last 25 years, he's now, he was retired and he's now chair of my board. So, you know, I've got somebody in the organisation who has a massive business acumen. I mean, the company he ran, our turnover was what, 10, 15, 20 million a year. So he has a really big picture about that. So I think that was a big challenge, kind of not knowing what I was doing, but knowing what I wanted to do. I think that was probably one of the main things. And then as we've grown, getting the right people around me. So again, I know what it's like managing a team, and you know, it only takes one person to mess the team up. So in 2020, there was just me. I've now got 12 coaches working within the organisation, and I've got a PA, and they are all beautiful people. They all look out for each other. They look out for me. My board looks out for me. I am blessed with the best team ever. So, you know, getting the right people in. We did have a hiccup at one stage, and that, you know, we managed to work through it. But yeah, having a really fabulous team.
Wonderful. Really great to hear. And what would you say some of the biggest learnings you've had about growing the business in general?
I think personally for me, still managing that element of doubt and, you know, that imposter syndrome that we all get a little bit of from time to time, but still pinching myself that I'm actually doing what I'm doing and we've achieved what we've achieved. So there's that personal stuff, you know, and still working on myself and looking back at what we've achieved and reminding myself how well we've done, and what I am capable of. And then one of the biggest things for us has been around funding, I would say. So as I said, I started my own business as cruise coaching consultancy. It was a private company, and we were doing some work in schools and so forth. But one of the challenges was that schools struggled to afford us, which is why I then went down the social enterprise route, because I knew we could apply for public funding. So another big challenge has been learning to write bids. Oh my goodness, that drains your brain. But when you win, it's like fabulous. And I'd say, you know, the first bid we ever went for, we won 25.5 grand. We did it with jointly with the school. And in the last 2.5 years of the organisation, we've been successful in being awarded about 80 odd thousand pounds in public funds.
Wonderful.
So we've done really well, but that was a huge challenge in terms of learning how to write bids. And again, we've got someone that has experience of writing bids. Brilliant. Working with us. So that was huge, but fabulous.
Absolutely super. And you mentioned one or two people already, but as you know, we're a coaching organisation. So I am keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general.
Well, definitely Steve Close, my ex-chief exec, and some of my other managers as well. I'd say the company who came in and trained us, so Charlotte Cook, a company straightforward, great organisation, and they gave us the real fundamentals around coaching. Brilliant. And that's really important because, you know, Chris, there are 1,000,001 coaches out there. Some of them are not coaches and have no clue at all and do more damage than good, and to the industry, because it's not a regulated industry. But because they gave us such a wonderful foundation, I was able to. And our coaching was about coaching other managers, but I've still been able to flex that to coach young people. I've not had special training how to coach young people. Yep. I just know how to flex. And we coach young people, we coach primary school, high school, universities, university staff. We're coaching head teachers, parents, you know, so it's really expanded into this huge thing. So certainly Charlotte's been an amazing coach. And then I had Paula Grizzard. She's more of a business coach. So about a year or so ago, so she really helped me with thinking more strategically about the business, where we wanted to take it, what my board looked like. We did some SWOT analysis stuff. We had away days. She's been amazing. So I'd say they were probably the main important, influential coaches in my life. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good people.
It sounded like all great people. That's absolutely wonderful. You obviously attract a lot of great people, so that's the thing. If we'll attract the right people towards us. And I always try to collect any favourite quotes or sayings that people have. Is there anything, any sayings or quotes that you have that you sort of fall back on a regular basis?
Well, I read a lot, so I come across lots of quotes and things, lots that you'll have already heard. I've got a vision board here. On my vision board, this is probably one. And it says, "You are the only one that can limit your greatness."
Wow, super.
And I like that because it is about, sometimes we do get in our own way, don't we? And sometimes that little voice does that thing about, who do you think you are? You can't do this. You can't go to a big company and ask them to invest in you. We get all of that. And the fear of failure and all that stuff goes on, and it can stop us. But yeah, you are the only one that can limit your greatness, and just working through that. And like I said, I have a vision board. I read that every single day. So that should have been on the tip of my tongue really when you asked me. But I like that one because it just helps to free your mind and help you to think a little bit differently and take a bit of a risk, a measured risk, but take some risks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. No, it's great. It's interesting because you mentioned imposter syndrome earlier, and at least half the people I've interviewed on this have referenced that. It's quite a common thing just in general, I think, with people. But I was in an event last week, and one of it wasn't actually speeches, but one of the speakers, one of the people was interviewed was the ex CTO of Microsoft, so worked directly with Bill Gates, and she referenced imposter syndrome herself. It really, I don't think it really is. It changes, however, wherever you go, it's still something that can limit us, as you rightly say.
It can, but I think I've learned now to try and turn it on its head a little bit and make it a positive thing. So if I'm feeling as if I'm being an imposter, it means it's something new I'm doing, and that's a good thing. And it's not something I'm used to doing, and that's a good thing. So, that stepping out of your comfort zone stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable here. There's a reason for it, and I'm actually proud of the fact that I'm doing something different rather than just doing some things that make me feel okay. So I've kind of put a positive twist on it.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's I've not heard that before, and I think it's bang on. I know my coach often talks about we have the phrase we call it perturbation, which is basically the state of being perturbed. We're
Nice.
confused or fearful or whatever, and that we always say perturbation is that fear or that concern, etc. And it's a breakthrough. It means that we're pushing the boundaries. It means that we're about to break through. And I remember being challenged by him probably 2 years ago, and I said, and I was verbalizing that, not sure, I'm feeling, and he said, "Brilliant, we're about to break through," and it really totally changed on it, as you said, totally on its head. And I went, "Cool, okay, get that. We'll crack on." So you said that's something you learned about yourself. What else have you learned about yourself through your journey?
I think I've always known this, but I appreciate it more now. In that, and I used to see this written in my appraisal from time to time. This can-do attitude, and I don't understand no. If someone tells me I can't do something, I don't quite get it. I'm like, really? So I think I am really determined. And again, we talked about that purpose thing, because I 110% believe in what I'm doing, and I know it's the right thing, and I know it offers value, and I know it's beneficial. Nothing's going to stop me doing what I want to do. Nothing's going to get in my way. Nothing and no one. So I know I'm really determined, and also I'm quite a creative thinker, very solution focused, but quite a creative thinker. So I can think of, right, that might not work this way, so why don't we try this? Why don't we try and go around it or over it or under it or find a way? So I'm always seeking a way to do something that I want to do. So yeah, pretty determined. Probably get on quite a lot of people's nerves, but yeah, I'd like to think I'm fairly unstoppable once I've made my mind up.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case, without a doubt. So leading on being unstoppable. So looking forward, what does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
I think the future for us is pretty bright, in that we've got a business model that works. Apart from my PA, no one's employed. So they're all freelance. So that works for us. It works for them. It's a really flexible model. We've got a great track record. So even though funding was an issue for us initially with the schools, when we've gone in with a grant and it comes to an end, all the schools that we're in now are self-funding, and all the schools that we're in now have had us in repeatedly. So one school we've been in for nearly 3 years. So that speaks for itself. And so I think in that respect, it's great. And the service that we deliver, it's not a service that's likely to just go away. Maybe, well, for sad reasons, I suppose, because children will always need some help, but so do adults. We all need someone to talk to at some stage, don't we? So it's not just about children that are struggling, but we offer a great service that's got longevity about it. The big thing for me that I'm looking at now, and I've given myself a 5-year exit plan. That was from Paula Grizzard. She was like, "What's your exit plan?" I'm like, "Oh, I've got one." She goes, "Well, you need one." So I'm like, 5 years, I'll be 65. That's when I hand the company over. I want to hand it over in a really strong way with great foundations. So we could grow really quickly if we wanted to, Chris. We could grow massively in the next couple of months, but I want our foundations to be right, the right policies, training, people. The business model is great. And what we're looking at now is the thing for us that I really want is for us to get some long-term funding that can give us that stability to do the things that we really, really want to do. So as I said, I'm a bit of a creative thinker. One of the things I'd love to do is open, I've already called it a Flourished Minds Academy, where we are training newly qualified teachers to teach with a coaching approach, because it makes a massive difference. The language that you use with young people, the relationship that you establish with young people. So I'd love to have my own Flourished Minds Academy where we're training newly qualified teachers. And ultimately, I'd love to have my own school where everything is underpinned with coaching. Everything that we do and say is underpinned with coaching. So my quest at the moment, my goal at the moment is to find us some long-term funding, 3-5 years of funding, so that we can do the things that we really want to do in the organisation, make a huge impact. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's absolutely sounds absolutely fascinating. I'm sure you'll, as you say, you'll find a way. So that's anybody watching that can help, I'm sure can apply. We'll make sure your contact details are on this at the end. And what from a sort of business owner perspective, what would you say to anyone thinking of going into business right now, Karen?
I think looking back at what I've done, I'd say have a really strong purpose, a reason. You know, sometimes we call it our why, don't we? But have a really strong purpose for your business, because there are going to be days when you think, why on earth? Or something happened and you're like, this is it, I'm giving up. And you need that thing that's always going to spur you on. So I know every day when and I won't lie, there are some days I wake up and I think, oh, I'm shattered today, maybe not today. And I just think, there's potentially a child out there that we could help, and up I get, and I'm on it. Brilliant. Rain, shine, whatever, however I'm feeling, I don't care. So I'd say have a really, really strong purpose. Because there are times when it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
And I think as well, that thing about get great people around you, that's been key for me. And what I found is there's so many people that are eager to help. I don't know if it's because I'm gobby, or because of the social value that our company offers and the work that we do. But I found loads of people out there willing to help. There are organisations out there that are helping us and really giving us like massive discounts because they want to be part of what we do. You know, the company that trains all our coaches, so all our coaches go through an accreditation, you know, they've given us a massive discount. Developing Success, an amazing organisation. So all our coaches are qualified to that level. And they've given us a huge discount on to do that, to get the right people in. You know, another company's just offered to do some supervision for the 12 of our team, and they've offered us, they didn't want to charge us. I'm like, no, you need to charge us something. You know, but they're like, we just love what you do. We love what you do and we want to be part of it. Wonderful. So I think surround yourself with great people, have a fantastic purpose, have a strong purpose, something that's going to keep you going, and just go for it. You know, don't try to be perfect or have to get it perfect every time. Just go for it. Just do your best.
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. And if you started your business again, is there anything significant that you do differently, do you think?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Do you know, I think I'm probably going to say nothing, even though I went through quite a few months of, especially when lockdown happened 2 months later, I was like, because I think if I'd done anything differently, my journey wouldn't be what it's been. And I've really enjoyed it. And I've enjoyed, because those challenges have pushed me to think I am going to have to do something differently. So when I started my first company and schools were like, what you're doing is great, but we can't afford you, I'm like, that pivot thing, I'm going to have to do something differently. So I went and found somebody that knew about business models. Do we become a charity? Do we become a kick? I'm like, didn't want any of that. Social enterprise, limited, you know, by guarantee. That's the company that we are. That's the business model that we've got. So I don't think I would do anything differently, really. I've just enjoyed the journey. And I know that I can be a bit spontaneous. So I've got people in that can rein me in a little bit and go, why? Like, so my board would be like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I'm not sure. Or maybe we ought not to do it then. Maybe not. So yeah, just get great people around you.
No, that sounds great. It reminds me of our founder, Brad Sugars. He has lots of ideas, but he's way more many ideas than the team can implement. So they have a Brad's board, and he has to come in and they have an idea and say, put it on Brad's board. So he puts it on Brad's board, and he has to stay there for a month. And if it stays there for a month, they do something about it. But normally within the month, he comes in and says, who wrote that stupid idea? Take that one off. And he sort of self-regulates a little bit, which I think is quite funny. So yeah, but without ideas, you know, without ideas, you don't get change and growth and development. So we need them, don't we?
Sometimes, exactly.
Just a bit of a filter of them, I guess. Just to give them a bit of chance. And finally, Karen, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you went back in time and did so?
Oh my God. not drink as much. Well, my daughter is going to be 18 in a couple of weeks. And the things I hear myself say to her are things like, there's always a plan B. There's always, always, always another option. So she's going through her A-level exams at the moment. If it doesn't work out, Olivia, there's always another way.
Brilliant.
Mum, you don't need to put mum me. Trust me, there'll be another way. And one of the things we say, certainly with the young children that we work with, because everyone goes, what do you want to do when you get older? I'm like, you don't need to know. You don't need to know at 18 what you're going to be when you're 30 or 50. I didn't start my business till I was in my 50s. But what you do need to do is do your best, and that's enough. Doing your best is good enough, and take opportunities. Because what that does is it helps you to know what you like and what you want to do, but it also helps you to know what you don't want to do. So take the opportunities and give them a go. And I think one of the things I do talk to her about a lot, she does do the mum, can you stop coaching me now? But I'm like, I can't help it. If you cut me in half, it'll just say coaching all the way down. It's, you know, be a good person and be kind, but know your worth. You know, stand up for yourself, but be kind. Know your worth, stand up for yourself, and you'll be fine. Actually, if you've got me behind you.
Wowzers, absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful. Really good words of advice for anybody, I think. And
thank
you so much. Karen, it's really been delightful. And I remember we were chatting, we met many years ago, and there was no doubt in my mind you would get where you wanted to go. And as you say, I met you when you had that first business, which had was a different model, and you know there was no doubt you get to the end of where you wanted to get to. It was just like how. And but thank you so much. It's been really inspiring, and I'm sure it'll inspire a lot of people that watch this. And just for anybody that would like to get in touch with you or your company, what would be the best way to get in touch?
The best way is probably to drop me an email. So I am Karen@flourishedminds.co.uk. Or check out our website. We've got a beautiful website. We get lots of compliments about our website, www.flourishedminds.co.uk.
Wonderful. And Karen, it'd be great to swing by again in 6 to 12 months and just see the next stage of development, if that's okay. And
certainly come and see me before I'm 65, because I'm gone then.
Definitely. No, definitely we'll do that. And it'd be great to see more about what you do. I'm really interested, and hopefully there might be a couple of people I could connect you with. So
that would be great.
Thanks so much, and we'll catch up again soon, I hope.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. I've loved it. Thanks very much.
You're really welcome.